Hi, this is David with David's Tutorials. Today I'm going to ruin all other kinds of iced tea for you. I'm going to do this by showing you how to brew your own tea that's so good you'll wish you had that tea with you whenever you go to a restaurant and they try to serve you whatever dreck they serve. Now here's the whole technique in a nutshell. All you have to do is put 5 tea bags into 2 quarts of water, stick it into your refrigerator for 6 to 18 hours, and that's it. That's all there is to it. You can quit watching this video now if you want to, but if you want to learn more about it, then all you got to do is pay attention to the rest of this video, and I'm going to tell you the techniques I use. I'll show you how I do it. I'll tell you what kind of tea I have found to be my favorite, and at the end of this video, you're going to have a lot more knowledge about how to make really good cold brew tea. If you're like me, when you go to a restaurant and order tea, you want to put in stuff, sweetener, sometimes lemon, not because you want those flavors, but because the tea by itself, it just isn't all that good. I just checked into one of our local restaurants that claims to have really good tea, and I poured a glass of unsweet tea. Let's see how good this is. It is not very good. It's very strong, it's overbrewed, it's got an acid bite. I brought my own cold brew. Night and day difference. More often than not, restaurant tea is overbrewed. They boil the stew out of their water with the tea bags right in it. The result is that it's overly strong and it's got an acid bite to it that it just requires additives to take the edge off. Even in places that brag they have the very best tea in the universe, they brew it this way too. I have found I can lessen the bite of restaurant tea without lemon or sweetener simply by adding about an ounce or maybe half an ounce of plain water. And even then, the overall taste is not as good as I would like. We're sitting here in a Mexican restaurant and I have ordered iced tea, and this is typical restaurant iced tea, and let's see what it tastes like. Yes, this is typical restaurant iced tea. It's got an acidic bite to it, a little edge on it that is just not pleasant. I'm going to show you how to take the edge off of this tea. If you can't use my cold brew tea, then this is one way you can do iced tea and at least make it palatable. So the way you get the edge off of restaurant tea is you just add a little bit of water to it. And I find that maybe 5 or 6 strawfuls of water into the tea that they bring you in a restaurant will take the edge off of that tea. Let me finish this up. One more. Boom. Stir it up. And now let's taste it. Yep, that's better. Not as good as the cold brew, but better than it was. A while ago, I noticed that the tea I made at home also had that acidic bite to it. So I started looking at different ways to brew tea at home. About, 2 or 3 years ago, I thought, why does the tea water have to boil? Does it really need that extra heat to get the tea out of the tea leaves? So I began doing some research. I went online and I looked up cold brew tea, and at the time I only found a few sites. There's more now, but the sites I found at that time, they were for gourmet tea connoisseurs talking all about exotic teas and tea blends and loose tea and measuring out your tea in grams. Excuse me, grams of tea? Who does that? Sure, I probably could measure loose tea in grams, but good grief, what a hassle. I want something that's easy, and I'll bet you do too. Easy when it comes to tea, for me, it means tea bags. Tea bags are everywhere. You don't have to weigh them. You don't have to measure them. You don't even have to put them on a pedestal. You just use them to determine how many bags of tea to use and how much water and for how long. I knew it was time to start experimenting. And you know, it really only took about 3 rounds of cold brew tea before I found the recipe I told you about right at the beginning of this video 5 tea bags in 2 quarts of water and stick it in the fridge overnight. A bit after that, I found that 7 tea bags works great in a gallon of water, and that needs 12 hours or more. But it's still great cold brew tea. To make the tea, all you need to do is just put the tea bags into the water in the jug, put the jug into the fridge, and when it's done, pull it out, squeeze the tea bags, and it's ready to drink. What could be easier? And I always have to ask, why would people spend more time and more work to make tea that doesn't taste as good? The difference between cold brew tea and the tea you get in a restaurant, or even hot brew tea you make at home, it's night and day. This cold brew tea is so smooth, it lets all the subtle flavors of the tea come through. There's none of that acid bite you get with the boiled brew stuff. Before we wrap things up here, I want to share with you 2 important things I have found out about making cold brew tea. The first is that the quality of the tea depends a great deal on the quality of the water you use. Always use the best tasting water you can find. I get mine as city water, but I run it through a pressed carbon filter, and it's very good. It's good water to start with, and through the filter it's even better. Now, I've made this kind of cold brew tea in at least a dozen different locations. Some of them have water that wasn't really very good at all. In those cases, the tea wasn't very good either. Curiously, when I had those locations where the tea itself wasn't that good because the water wasn't good, I went out and I got some bottled water. I'd get it in the gallon jug. Sometimes I'd get it in the 12 ounce or the 16 ounce or the 1 liter bottles. But curiously, that bottled water doesn't seem to always be that good, even though in some cases it was better than the tap water where I was. The second thing to know about making cold brew tea is that cleanliness is essential. Cold brew tea doesn't last long, partially because it's so good it just will go very quickly, but also because it will tend to go bad after about the 2nd or 3rd day. I have found you can extend the time by a day or so by first making sure you wash your tea jug thoroughly before putting the water in it. Use soap, rinse it well, and then you have to wash and rinse your hands really well before squeezing out the tea bags. This will keep all of the contaminants out of your tea and keep it tasting better longer. Even with these precautions, you probably need to make only the quantity of tea you can consume in 2 to 3 days. That way it will be good until it's gone. Finally, let's talk about tea blends. What kind of tea do I like? My favorite blend is this. The combination I like is 3 bags of Twinings brand English breakfast tea and 2 bags of Bigelow Plantation Mint for 2 quarts of tea. Or I can use 4 bags of English breakfast and 3 bags of plantation mint in a gallon of tea. That's my very favorite. Green tea also works really well. I've also tried several different combinations of different kinds of tea bags, and I have found that I do not, for example, want to make another batch of cold brew tea using oolong tea bags. Oolong tea is great when it's hot, but when you make it into cold brew tea, at least to me, it's bleh. No thank you. I also like to make a batch of decaf tea with the same proportions. For this kind of batch, I use 3 bags of Twinings English breakfast decaf and 2 bags of peppermint herbal tea. This is what I drink after 2 in the afternoon when I'm trying to cut down on caffeine and I just don't want to stay awake at night. I've also found that several Celestial Seasonings herbal tea brands make really good cold brew tea. One of my favorites is their Red Berry Zinger. For me, some of these teas are better if you'll put in a little bit of sweetener. For me, I like to use stevia as a sweetener because it doesn't kick up your blood glucose levels. Okay, now you know the kind of teas I like for making cold brew tea. I do understand that not everyone likes the same thing. So if you should encounter and experiment with various kinds of tea and come across something that you really, really like and you think it's great, please let everybody else know. Just come back here and put it in the comments down below what your absolute favorite blend of cold brew tea. Also, give us some comments about how you like cold brew tea compared to the other kinds of tea. Now, if you're the kind of person that likes a little bit of tea with your sugar, then this probably isn't for you. But I gotta tell you, I have been able to get totally off of drinking diet sodas of any kind, by drinking cold brew tea. It is wonderful. And I'm going to show you here at the end of this video some of the reactions of the people that I've given this cold brew tea to, and you can see for yourself what they had to say about it. I sure wish there was some way of selling or even giving this world-class deliciousness to restaurants, mostly so I wouldn't have to put up with the boiled brew dreck they serve there. But until then, I'll be happy passing this method on to you in the hopes that you will enjoy it as much as I do. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please tell us your thoughts about this tea in a comment. Tell all your friends about this video. Share it with them however you like to share videos. And if you're watching somewhere besides YouTube and you want to leave a comment, just click on the little YouTube icon right down there in the lower right-hand corner, and that'll take you to this video on YouTube where you will be able to leave a comment. It will also help the David's Tutorials channel a lot if you'll let the YouTube people know that you thought this was a helpful video. Just click on that thumbs up icon down there below the video, and don't forget to click, if you're not already a subscriber, on the subscribe button and then the bell icon to be notified whenever we post another great tutorial right here on David's Tutorials. Okay, here's some of the comments from the other people that I've served this tea to, and you can just hear for yourself what they had to say.
Oh man, that's good tea.
Wow. Is that mint in there? That's
Yeah.
really good. That is really good.
How do you compare that to any other tea you've had?
That has got to be the best. Seriously. Wow. That's better than sweet tea. Wow.
He's getting ready to taste my cold brew tea for the very first time. And Larry, it's okay with you if I put this up on YouTube, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want your honest reaction. And of course, I prefer that you like it, but just go ahead and taste it and tell me how you like that tea.
Wow, very refreshing. This is nice. Yeah, I
You
really
wouldn't
like it.
believe it, but this tea is easier to make than regular tea. So my question
Wow.
is, why would people work harder to make tea that's not as good?
I'm not sure, but I like this. This is really nice.
Just gotta
very-
tell me whether you like it.
I like it.
That's my cold brew tea.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, that's good.
Take care, everybody.